So apparently, James Gunn is in serious trouble, and so is the entire DC universe. What was supposed to be a fresh start with Superman Legacy by James Gunn is turning into an absolute fiasco. Now, I'm talking sabotage, woke politics, and a total disconnect from what made Superman great in the first place. Now, if James Gunn at this point doesn't course correct fast, well, this whole entire franchise could go up in smoke before it ever takes off. Okay, so yeah, at this point, a lot of us are either like really divided on this, and this Superman Legacy by James Gunn might be the biggest meltdown in modern superhero history. Now, this isn't coming from some random activist on X or Blue Sky or even James Gunn himself, at least not yet. No, this is coming straight from one of DC's own veteran writers, Mark Waid. Now, a man who once helped shape iconic stories like Kingdom Come is now on record saying that, Superman Legacy by James Gunn speaks to people today because it's a symbol of hope in a time of quote unquote widespread dread. Okay, widespread dread. Really, that's your baseline for why Superman Legacy by James Gunn matters now. I mean, it's kind of weird to me, but it sounds more like meltdown mode than any meaningful creative vision. You see, this is not inspiration at all, people. You see, this is just simply therapy, as I've said before, through propaganda. And it's exactly why DC this time under James Gunn gets destroyed again and again at the box office. Now, I didn't say this was for James Gunn before. I said this is for Leslie Headland when she was doing The Acolyte, okay? To the point where she stated that, there was a part in there with the sisters, from the characters from the sisters of the show, where she said that it's kind of this basically what she's going through with her sister and stuff. Instead of just seeking therapy, she decided to go ahead and put that in here. Now we're getting the same thing from James Gunn. Now you got Warner Brothers putting everything, I mean everything, on the line with Superman Legacy by James Gunn. And this is not just another flick. It's supposed to be the film that determines whether the entire DCU survives. And instead of just focusing on character, integrity, and storytelling, you've got clowns injecting their TDS or Trump derangement syndrome into Superman Legacy by James Gunn, which was supposed to be basically a clean slate right now. I mean, at this point, it's laughable. No, actually, no, it's cringe. Okay, it's the kind of thing you'd expect from Twitter doom scrollers from years ago, not from people who are entrusted with one of the most sacred figures in pop culture history. Okay, now going on, then this came from Bonnie into Comics, an article where it says, talks about Mark Waid, where he says, and I quote, "There's a sense of dread that is an undercurrent to every moment of our lives." Every moment, really. What kind of miserable, life are you having? I mean, if every waking second is filled with existential horror, dread, maybe the problem isn't the world. Maybe it's you. You're probably the problem. And if you're bringing that into Superman Legacy by James Gunn, you're not writing a hero. You're just projecting your breakdown, okay? And these people don't want to go ahead and uplift. They want Superman to be their emotional support messiah. Well, I tell you that bad, not messiah, but emotional support, fighting against the Orange Man bad boogeyman they can't stop obsessing over, okay? Now, this kind of tone deaf nonsense is why the mainstream audience tuned out, okay? You see, we don't want Superman Legacy by James Gunn to be your therapist. No, we simply want him to be Superman, period, Mark. The Kansas farm boy who grew up with, more clarity and an unshakable sense of doing what's right, not because it's popular, but because it's actually right. Okay, we talk about truth, justice, the American way, basically. But of course, I mean, they're just allergic to that last part. Okay, because American might offend somebody now, and that's something that I think that James Gunn seems to forget. It's a total meltdown of cultural confidence at this point. And what's even, worse, this writer, Mark Waid, has flat out said that when his political side loses, he loses his ability to write superheroes. Seems to me that Mark Waid may be another snowflake in Hollywood, and that's not just insane cope. That's an admission that he has no objectivity, no professionalism, and zero respect for Superman Legacy by James Gunn, which was meant to restore faith in this character. Okay, now think about this right quick. Imagine walking into your boss's office and think about if you're a boss out there and say, hey, because the election didn't go my way, I'm not doing my job properly anymore. I can't work today. If you say that to them, you'd get fired on the spot. And yet this guy's still on the payroll, actively infecting the Superman brand with his personal woke politics. I mean, David Zaslav need to grow up here and just fire him already. But if Superman Legacy by James Gunn flops and it's looking real shaky right now, I mean, it's not going to be because people don't care about the character. Simply put, this movie by James Gunn, if it flops, it's going to be because, they took the character itself and just twisted him into something that he was never meant to be. Okay, an ideological prop for them, a political symbol, a partisan savior for broken adults who never emotionally matured past college campus protests. I mean, at this point, it's embarrassing. It's not inspirational. It's a cultural nightmare playing out under James Gunn in real time. Now you see, Superman is supposed to be someone that we all can believe in, not just a therapy mascot for progressive journals and woke ideologues and stuff. But I mean, at this point, let's just call it what it is. The legacy media wants Superman Legacy by James Gunn to fight for their narrative, okay, for their woke narrative. Not for everyone, just their team, okay? But here's the thing, their team doesn't buy comics, okay? Their team doesn't go to theaters. Their team doesn't even pay for streaming. Okay, they pirate, they protest, they pontificate, but they don't purchase anything. They are not the audience right there that they're aiming for. You see, they're just nothing more than professional complainers. So who exactly are these filmmakers catering to? Because it sure as heck isn't the people who actually grew up loving Superman like myself. Okay, now you want to know basically what real Superman energy look like? I mean, go back and watch Lois and Clark with Dean Cain or the Christopher Reeves movies, or heck, don't stop there. Go ahead and watch the Snyderverse of Man of Steel. Those versions got it. They understood that Clark Kent is the character. Superman is just what he can do. That show and those movies didn't need political sermons. They didn't need identity politics. They had family values and other values and the main character who knew right from wrong without needing a committee. But today, nah, that's just too simple. Now we need a Superman Legacy written by James Gunn to be a symbol of dread management, basically. I mean, this is basically just a big mess right now, and it may not be cleaned up even further. And while we're here, don't even get me started on Snyder's version of Superman. Yes, granted, I liked Man of Steel, but that's where this all started. To be honest, that's my flip side of it. Turning Superman into a brooding god figure instead of the humble, hardworking hero that we all look up to. I mean, some people like that, others don't, but it was edgy for the sake of being edgy, and now you've got these leftover writers still carrying the torch, of the James Gunn energy, trying to outdo each other with who can make Superman Legacy by James Gunn the saddest, most depressed woke mascot in cinema. I mean, it's so tone deaf, it's almost impressive. Okay, now I did enjoy the Snyderverse, but some of the dark tones were a little too dark for my liking. But if I'm David Zaslav right now, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, get it together. Now, this is not the time for a political art film. You see, Superman Legacy by James Gunn is the movie that has to save an entire cinematic universe. I mean, this has to be a cultural juggernaut, okay? Instead, it's just shaping up to be a bloated, ideologically infected disaster that'll leave Warner Brothers picking up all the broken pieces for another decade. Because the audience, They've had it. You know, they're sick of being preached at. You see, all they want are heroes, not therapy sessions that's tucked away inside of a cape. And this ain't just about, Superman. This is about, a broader meltdown across all of entertainment. You see, the people making this stuff genuinely don't like their own audience. Okay. I mean, I've been saying that for years. Simple as that. You see, they see the fans as backwards. They want to replace the audience with activists. And every time they do, the box office explodes in the worst way. Just look at Disney, for example. Look at Marvel. Heck, the Marvels, that particular movie and stuff, it's all a pattern. It's like they're addicted to failure, but they simply dress it up in a lot of buzzwords and pretend that it's brave. It's not brave at all. It's just simply cringe. But here's what normal people want. They're hoping for Superman Legacy by James Gunn to show a Superman who actually inspires, a Superman who doesn't mope and gloat around, a Superman who helps a kid stuck in a burning building or in trouble and stuff, not because it makes a political point, but because it's the right thing to do, and they know that that child has a family. You want politics? Go watch cable news or CNN somewhere. Leave it out of our capes. And if you're a writer who needs Superman Legacy, even if it's by James Gunn or somebody else, to cope with your election trauma, maybe it's time to go outside, touch grass, and be one with nature. Or better yet, get a journal. Stop projecting your issues onto Clark Kent. Now, bottom line, if Superman Legacy by James Gunn gets hijacked by a bunch of woke political messaging, it's doomed, okay? It's going to get destroyed. Not because audiences are mean, not because critics are unfair, but because you can't build a shared universe around a therapy session. You need a hero. If James Gunn doesn't understand that, then guess what? You don't understand Superman. And you don't deserve to write him. All right. But period. End of story. Okay. So basically, my message to Warner Brothers, or if they're watching, don't care if they're not watching. Oh well, but I'm putting this out in there anyway. To James Gunn, to anyone still trying to salvage this thing, fire the people who are sabotaging your movie from inside. Cut them loose. Distance yourself from the other activists that's out there masquerading as creative. Get back to the basics, okay? Simply give us Superman, even if it is Superman Legacy under James Gunn, that stands for something real. A Superman that doesn't carry your trauma, your past trauma and stuff. He carries hope. Oh, that's what he's supposed to be doing. That's who he's always been. That's who he still can be if you stop exploding the character with your own baggage. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Smash like button in the video if you share like what was shared in it. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification for future notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.